4, 3, 2, 1.
Studio Classroom is recording.
Studio Classroom. Studio Classroom.
Please stand by.
Studio Classroom is on the air.
Welcome to Studio Classroom on the air. Your English will improve today. My name is Carolyn. What kind of community do you live in? Do you know your neighbors? In order to be a real part of a community, it's important to know the other people who live there and talk with them. Our lesson today is called Make a Difference in Your Community. There are many ways that we can make the area we live in a better place. It can be as simple as giving your time to one of your neighbors when they need help with something. Let's learn about a few ways we can make our communities better.
Make a difference in your community. Include the isolated. Do you know anyone who is housebound? Almost all neighborhoods have a few people who are confined to their homes. These people are often elderly and unable to leave their homes to perform simple tasks. But they belong to the community too. By letting them borrow your legs and eyes, you can make them feel included. You can run errands for them like shopping or paying bills. They might like you to read to them if their eyesight is failing. Governments provide some of the services these people need, but programs cannot give them friendship. That's what communities are for.
Hi everyone, welcome to Language Lab. 首先我们看 housebound 这个形容词 bound 这个字是 bind B-I-N-D 绑住或束缚这个动词的过去分词，所以 housebound 是指因为身体状况以至于行动不便的或者是不能出门的。例如 The transport service is to help housebound patients be able to go to the hospital. 这个运送的服务是帮助行动不便的人可以去到医院。或者是 The church delivers hot meals to housebound elders in the neighborhood. 这个教会送热的餐点给社区里面行动不便无法出门的老人家。接下来我们看 eyesight 这个不可数名词。eyesight 在这里是指视觉或视力。例如 Eric lost his eyesight after the car crash. Eric 在车祸之后就失明了。或者是 Despite her failing eyesight,Darlene still refuses to wear glasses. 尽管视力越来越差 Darlene 还是拒绝戴眼镜。或者是 Vivian claimed her eyesight improved after she stopped using her smartphone so much. Vivian 说她不再像以前那么大量使用智慧型手机之后，她的视力有进步。或者是 Patrick can't be a pilot due to his weak eyesight. Patrick 因为视力很弱，所以没有办法成为一位飞行员。
Thank you, Michelle. We are continuing to learn about how we can make our communities a better place, and yesterday we talked about cleaning up our neighborhood, getting people together to just pick up trash and make it a nicer place to live. But in our lesson today, we take a different approach. The very first way we look at to help our communities is to include the isolated. And that's a really interesting word here, isolated, being used to refer to people who can't get out. They have limited social contact or they are far away from other people.
And this could be for different reasons, right? Perhaps someone has a physical sickness and so they can't leave their home. You know, sometimes people feel isolated. Okay, that means they might start to feel lonely because they are alone. And so do you ever feel isolated? Well, if you know what that feeling is like, then you can go and help other people who also are isolated in some way. Now, we use this word in other ways as well, maybe to talk about an incident. Okay, so someone did something bad, and you could say, well, that was an isolated incident. He's not always like that. So that's different from someone who always has a bad habit. No, this is just a single incident. It's an isolated incident.
So if you know anyone who is isolated, there are things that you can do to include them as a part of the community. And we read here a little question. Do you know anyone who is housebound? Almost all neighborhoods have a few people who are confined to their homes. So if someone is housebound, it means that they can't leave their homes. And we see a great phrase right here, confined to. If something is confined to an area, that means it can't leave. It's not able to get out, or it must stay in a certain place or use a certain thing.
Okay, so for another example of how to use the word confined, sometimes I feel a little bit confined here. You can ask the cameraman and the director here at Studio Classroom. I like to move around a lot. And so you see, if it's a wide shot like this, I can do anything I want. But if it's just the camera focusing on me, I have to keep my hands within this range because I am confined to this area. You see, I have to stick within this area. Now, this word confined can also be used in another way as a noun, okay? The confines of something, and it's pronounced confine of, okay? So we could talk about, in our lesson, some people feel like they are stuck within the confines of their houses.
Good point, Gabe. So if you know someone who is confined to their home, you could help them. We see that these people are often elderly and unable to leave their homes to perform simple tasks, but they belong to the community too. Just because they can't get out to talk with people doesn't mean they aren't part of the community.
Okay, so we read on here by letting them borrow, and that word borrow is in quotation marks, okay? By letting them borrow your legs and eyes, you can make them feel included. Okay, so what could that look like? Perhaps someone is in a wheelchair or can't get out of the house much, right? Well, you can take them out somewhere, maybe for a walk, and in that way, in a sense, they're borrowing your legs, right? And they're using what you have to benefit them.
Right. So here's one example in our lesson. You can run errands for them, like shopping or paying bills. For people who are able to move around freely, this is a very simple task, but for people who are isolated or confined to their homes, just getting out to run errands can be difficult. And what does that phrase mean, to run errands? Well, it doesn't mean you're running. Instead, it's just a short trip to perform a certain task like paying your bills.
That's right. And sometimes you might say, I need to run an errand, or I need to run a couple of errands. I need to run a few errands. That means I have a few things that I need to do. Or, of course, you could use the past tense. I ran some errands today.
Very good. So maybe you can help someone by running errands for them, or you can let them borrow your eyes by reading to them. They might like you to read to them if their eyesight is failing. Not everyone can see well, and so you could help them by reading.
And I think this is a great idea. We read on here, governments provide some of the services these people need. So a lot of governments do provide these services, but programs cannot give them friendship. That's what communities are for. And this article makes a great point that the friendships that you build in your own neighborhood, in your own community, nothing can replace that.
Right, and I love the way the sentence ends. That's what communities are for. When you see that's what something is or are for, that means that it's the purpose of this thing. And this is just kind of a fun way to express what something is meant to do.
And it reminds me of that song, That's What Friends Are For. Hey, do you ever hear that phrase, Carolyn? That's what friends are for. Have you ever used that phrase?
Sure, there are a lot of times that people will use the phrase, that's what friends are for. Maybe you need someone to talk to. Well, that's what friends are for.
Exactly. Or you need some help? Come on, I'm right here. I can help you. Don't deny or refuse my help. That's what friends are for. Well, I'm a little sad because our lesson is halfway over, but I guess we should look on the bright side.
Yes, we should.
We have
we should.
Info cloud coming up.
Yes, yes,
right?
yes. We should go to the info cloud
Okay.
to look on the bright side.
Hi friends, welcome to InfoCloud. If you are feeling a little bit down today, look on the bright side. We have a great lesson for you.
We sure do. And it's all about that phrase you just used. Look on the bright side.
This is a great phrase to use when something bad happens. Instead of focusing on the bad part of a situation, you can try to find the positive part.
As a general example, someone might say, look on the bright side. It could have been much worse.
Or if someone loses their job, another person might try to comfort them by saying, look on the bright side. Now is the perfect time for you to follow your dreams.
So why do we say look on the bright side to mean look at the positives?
Generally, we associate light and brightness with things that are good. If something is bright, it is easy to see and we usually like the way it looks. Brightness is also associated with positive feelings like happiness.
So if you are looking at the bright side instead of the dark side, then you see the happiness or positive part instead of the negative part.
今天介绍的这个用语是一种相当重要的生活态度。Look on the bright side， 看看光明的一面，意思就是要正面的看待事情。在我们身旁，如果有人的生活中发生了意想不到的事情，你可以鼓励他 ：“Hey, look on the bright side。”你应该用正面的角度看待这件事情，或者是 You should look on the bright side instead of focusing on the negatives. 与其看到负面的，你应该正面一点的看待这件事情。这就是今天的 InfoCloud， 我们下次云端见。
Studio Classroom is on the air.
Welcome back, friends. Our lesson today is called Make a Difference in Your Community. There are many ways that you can make a difference in your community, and one that we've talked about so far is to include the isolated. You can run errands for people who are housebound, or you could even read to someone whose eyesight isn't very good. And speaking of reading with others is a great way to build community. Let's learn more about that in our next section.
Make a difference in your community. Round up some readers. Reading clubs are popular all over Europe and North America. Members might read at home to prepare for discussion, or they might read aloud to each other and talk about what they just read. Either way, a book or article can spark lively discussion, and this often challenges people to take action. The clubs are a good way to welcome newcomers to the community too. Newcomers can find new friends with similar interests. If your neighborhood doesn't yet have a club, find a few reading enthusiasts and get the ball rolling.
OK， 继续我们看 round up 这个片语动词。round up 是指使聚集或使聚拢。例如 Rebecca rounded up friends who loved to dance and started an after-school dance club. Rebecca 召聚了爱跳舞的朋友们，开始了一个课后的舞蹈社团。或者是 The students rounded up the performers so the concert could start. 学生们把表演者聚集起来，让演唱会可以开始。 Roundup 中间如果用连接号连成一个字，就变成名词，可以是指围捕。例如 The terrorist was arrested in the general police roundup， 这名恐怖分子是在一个一般性的警方的围捕中被逮捕的。最后我们看 get the ball rolling 这个成语 ，get the ball rolling 是指开始做或着手做。例如 We have tons of work to finish by the end of this week. Let's get the ball rolling. 我们在这个周末前有一大堆工作得完成，我们现在就开始进行吧。如果要说明要进行什么事，可以用 on 这个介系词。例如 The meeting of the heads of both countries can hopefully get the ball rolling again on peace talks. 两国领袖的会面希望能够重启双方的和谈。And now let's get back to our teachers.
Well, reading is certainly a great way to build community, and here in our lesson, we see another way that reading can be helpful. Round up some readers or get some readers together, and it says right here that reading clubs are popular all over Europe and North America. And I think that reading clubs are becoming popular in a lot of places, although I don't know that many people want to read books nowadays. Now maybe it's more reading tablets or ebooks.
Oh, that is true. I mean, even comic books are not as popular now as looking at your smartphone, right? Or maybe an ebook is a great idea. But Carolyn, I don't usually call it a reading roundup club. I call it not even a reading club. Isn't there another phrase for that?
Sure, we often just call this a book club.
That's right.
Because that's what you read at this club. You read books.
Okay, so have you ever been part of a book club? I was trying to think about this. I haven't actually been part myself of a book club. I've read books that friends suggested to me, and then we talked about it for a little while. But I think a book club meets on a regular basis, right?
Usually, if it's a club, yes, it should have a regular meeting time. And I was in a book club in high school, and we would kind of meet with our English teacher, and she would give us book suggestions, and then we would all read the book, and then we would discuss it.
And I think that's a great idea, friends. If you enjoy reading, if you know some other people who might enjoy reading and talking about some interesting things that were presented in the book, then having a book club is a great idea. And you could start by suggesting a book that you have read before, but you think is good and that other people should read. That's okay. Why not read the book again?
Right. So you could have a reading club or a book club in your community, and we read that members might read at home to prepare for discussion, or they might read aloud to each other and talk about what they just read. So you could also use this as an opportunity to practice reading aloud, and you could even do this in English.
That's true. Well, either way we read, a book or article can spark lively discussion, and this often challenges people to take action. That means to do something important to make a difference in your community. But let's take a look at a couple of words in this sentence. First of all, what's that word spark all about?
Well, spark just simply means to start or begin something.
That's right. So for example, maybe a question can spark a conversation, or the news can spark a conversation between you and your friends, okay? It gets you both to think about it, and then you start talking about things that are related to it, and it could be quite interesting.
It could even be lively, and that's
Yes.
the other word from this sentence we want to look at. If something is lively, then it is energetic and fun and has a lot of feeling behind it.
Okay, and I always enjoy watching people deliver lively speeches or giving lively speeches, right? Or you could say, we had a very lively conversation the other day. Perhaps a lot of opinions were expressed. Maybe somebody even got angry. It was very lively. And you could also describe a person as being lively. Wow, he's a very lively and energetic person.
Very good. Now, there are other purposes to having a book club or a reading club. We see that clubs are a good way to welcome newcomers to the community, too. Newcomers can find new friends with similar interests, and that's great.
That's great. And so it's not just about a book club. Maybe there's another idea for a club that you have, and it brings people together. We read here, if your neighborhood doesn't yet have a club, find a few reading enthusiasts and get the ball rolling. Well, can you tell us a little bit about that word enthusiast?
Well, an enthusiast is someone who's really excited about a particular thing. They are very enthusiastic about it.
So, for example, our friend Linda, who works here at Studio Classroom, is a biking enthusiast. She loves riding bikes and she gets excited about it. I would guess, Carolyn, that you are a Star Wars enthusiast because you love those movies and stories.
Well, sure, I do enjoy reading the stories and watching the movies, so sure, you could call me an enthusiast. And you know something else that I really enjoy, Gabe?
What's that? Are you a review skit enthusiast?
Yes, I love the review skit, so let's watch one now.
Hey, where are you going? I'm going to make a difference. Huh? Make a difference? Where? In our community. Can just one person make a difference? You bet. Every person counts. So that's why I've decided to take the initiative. Really? And what do you hope to accomplish? I have a few ideas. One is to clean up the neighborhood. I'm fed up with all the litter. Well, yeah, me too. This place could sure use a cleanup. I plan to organize a cleanup program. Maybe a local business can sponsor it. Living in a spruced up neighborhood would be nice. Yes, cleaning up will be its own reward. So, what else can you do to make a difference? I can reach out to the isolated. You know, neighbors who are confined to their homes. Some elderly people are housebound. They can't get out to do simple tasks. Right. And they belong to the community. I want to help them and be their friend. Oh, that's so nice. That's what communities are for. Anything else? Yes. I'm going to round up readers. Round up readers? Like a reading club where members read books and discuss them? Exactly. That can spark some lively discussions. And challenge people to take action. Clubs also are a good way to welcome newcomers to the community. That's right, yeah. I want to make a difference in my community. Hey, it's our community. I want to make a difference too. Great! Let's get the ball rolling. Okay.
We've learned some really great ways to help our community and make a positive difference where we live. One way is to include the isolated. Include people who can't get out of their homes. Can you think of other ways that you can help people in your community or work to make your community a better place? I'm sure that you can think of them and you can maybe spark a lively discussion on improving your community. Tell us about it. We'll see you next time on Studio Classroom.
A friend endures at all times. A good friend lasts a lifetime. I am so proud to have you in my life. A good friend lasts a lifetime.